Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Human Resources in History. This podcast aims to offer insights from 7,000 years of human history to help modern human resource practices. I am your host, Makoto, a data scientist and journalist.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jin, your co-host. I'm an HR professional and I love history.
Cool, Jin. So this is our 7th episode.
Yes.
So which topic are we exploring today?
Right. So today we will dive into a very important revolution. A revolution that has huge impact on human rights. Can you guess?
Okay, French Revolution.
Yeah, you know it. It's a very important, popular topic when it comes to human rights. So, my next question is, what insights do you think we can get as an HR and business leaders?
Okay. Well, when it comes to the French Revolution, what comes to my mind is its slogan. You know that?
Slogan.
Yeah. You know the slogan of the French Republic, like liberté, égalité, fraternité. You know, in English, it's liberty, equality, and fraternity, right?
Yes.
And this slogan became so famous because it sounds so cool.
Yeah.
It rhymes, right?
Yeah.
Which country has a slogan that rhymes? No countries. So I think the insight is corporate slogan must rhyme.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, it's not bad, I think.
It's not bad, right?
Yeah, it's important to make corporate slogans or values, missions, and vision more memorable and impactful.
What was the corporate slogan of the companies that you worked for before?
Yes, I was working at the fast retailing, Uniqlo's parent company, right? That was changing clothes, changing conventional wisdoms, and change the world, or something like that.
Oh, that's so difficult to rhyme.
No, it's about change. So it was not difficult to remember, and then everyone at fast retailing was able to say it. I still remember.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so it's already rhyming. That's cool.
Yeah. But it's not a main point.
No, it's not? Okay, let me think. Oh yeah, what about this? Marie Antoinette. So she said something like, if they have no bread, let them eat cake or something like that, right?
Yes. I love that phrase.
So the insight from this quote is, when an employee asks for a salary rise, HR should never say, if they have no money, let them eat more at the office cafeteria because it's a free meal. How about this?
It's a great point, actually. Yeah, we can probably talk about that in another episode. Right? So yeah, it's true that HR professionals and leaders should stay focused on the actual issue, and they should never shift the focus away. Mm-hmm. So they are asking for salary raise. They are not asking for more food at the canteen, right?
Yeah.
But I want to add two things about this. So first, you know the original French phrase?
No, I only know in English.
Okay, so it's in French. It's s'ils n'ont plus de pain, qu'ils mangent de la brioche.
Wait, did you say brioche?
Yes. So, yeah, that's a point.
What?
Brioche is not a cake, right?
Brioche is definitely not a cake.
It's just a type of bread made with eggs and butter.
I mean, I would be furious if I ordered a cake and got a brioche.
Yeah, right? So for sure, for the people around that time, the brioche is really luxurious compared to like very simple bread, right?
Right.
But for Marie Antoinette, the brioche and bread is sort of the same thing. So I think this translation is a little bit misleading.
Yeah.
Because calling brioche cake might make the quote sound more shocking than it was. Mm-hmm. Right? So just the loss in translation in a way.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know who did that, but
so the second point, which is more important.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out Marie Antoinette actually never said the phrase.
Really?
So the phrase was actually mentioned in Confessions, which is the book written by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was one generation before Marie Antoinette. So I'm not 100% sure what the truth was, mm-hmm. but I read many articles that said this phrase was not attributed to Marie Antoinette, in fact.
Wow.
So it's in a way, it's a fake news.
It is.
Yes. So
Is that today's insight or?
yes, thank you very much everyone for listening to our no, this is not a main topic. Our main topic today is not about the royal family or Marie Antoinette or brioche or fake news.
All right.
So we are going to explore insights from this famous document called Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen. Do you remember this?
Yeah. I think it was a crucial document published just after the Bastille Day, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I know that as a pivotal moment for human rights.
Yes, correct. So yeah, today we're going to talk about this Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen.
Okay, exciting.
Yes, it is. So it was published in August 1789. So as you said, it's just after the Bastille Day, which is July 14th,
Right.
when the Bastille was attacked by the bunch of citizens.
Mm-hmm.
For this declaration, several key figures contributed to it, to the conceptualization and drafting process. So those figures including Lafayette, CAS, and Maribor. I think these people are kind of familiar to you.
The first person, Lafayette, is it something related to Galerie Lafayette?
The answer is yes, but not directly related. So Galerie Lafayette is located in in Paris, right? As we both know, and department store was named after the street it is located. So it's located in Rue Lafayette or something, I think. Yeah, but then of course this street is named after this guy, Lafayette.
Oh, okay.
So Lafayette played a crucial role in many historical events. For example, he's very famous in the US as well because he led this Continental Army at the Battle of Yorktown. So this Battle of Yorktown, it was a decisive moment for the United States during the American Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
So he was one of the biggest contributors to the independence of the United States, right?
Oh, okay.
And then after this, the Battle of Yorktown, Lafayette returned to France and then contributed to the declaration.
Oh, so he played a crucial roles in two countries.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
So his career seems quite impressive.
Yeah.
So now let's move on to the document itself.
Mm-hmm.
So declaration states in its first article, this is a very famous phrase: men are born and remain free and equal in rights.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this phrase has become a fundamental principle of the current constitution of the Fifth French Republic after, I think, 1958. Now in France we are in the Fifth Republic. So it's been important. And this statement was greatly influenced by philosophers such as John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. I'm sure you know both of them. And in his treatises of government, right? Mm-hmm. John Locke argued that every man should be protected in the possession of property, and highlighting the importance of individual rights in relation to government authority.
Okay.
So this is particularly important and interesting because at the time, the divine right of kings was prevalent ideology.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Right? Yeah. So Locke's argument was quite contradictory to this to the divine right of kings.
And also it was probably very controversial.
Yeah, exactly. So it's in a positive way, avant-garde.
Mm-hmm.
And then this movement of thought was one of the good examples of the Age of Enlightenment.
Right.
That moment around the 17th, 18th century was also called the Age of Enlightenment. So that's John Locke's philosophy contributed to this declaration. And another important person is Rousseau. So after 70 years after John Locke published his book, mm-hmm. Rousseau introduced the concept of the general will in The Social Contract.
Yeah, that's a famous book.
Yes, and the general will is the collective will of the people. It emphasizes the idea of natural freedom, and it asserts that it is the birthright of every man.
Okay.
So it's very, it's a new way of thinking at that age. And this famous phrase, I'm sure you have heard that: man is born free and is everywhere in chains. So this is interpreted as a profound phrase on the tension between individual liberty and social constraints. So what I wanted to say here is that these schools of thought significantly contributed to the expansion of human rights concepts. This human rights concepts were previously reserved for certain social classes.
Nowadays human rights is widely spoken and also assured. Well, basically anywhere in the world, the human rights is assured, right? Of course, it's a controversial argument, depending on the political scheme or religion. Maybe people in some countries might not fully enjoy these rights, but in general, it's the rights that everybody has, and basically it all started in this French Revolution, no?
Yeah, in general, in Western countries and some developed countries. As you said, there are some exceptions for sure.
Okay, so now I know what kind of insights we were trying to get today.
What insights do you think?
One of the insights we get today is that companies should respect every employee and their freedom, no?
I totally agree, but I also want to challenge that idea. Well, of course, I'm not saying that companies cannot respect everyone, but I want to ask if it is really possible to address everyone.
Okay, what do you mean?
Let me ask another question. Have you noticed any shortcomings of the Declaration of the Rights of Men and of the Citizen?
Shortcomings? No. No, it sounds so sophisticated and ideal to me, though. It's a perfect declaration, isn't it?
Yes. However, is it really addressing everyone? Let me read it aloud. Declaration of the Rights of Men and of the Citizen. So this is the real title of this declaration. Have you noticed anything? Let me read this aloud again. Man is born free and is everywhere in chains.
Are you saying that it's not addressing women?
Yes, exactly. This is exactly what I wanted to address today. Right? So the title again is Declaration of the Rights of Men and of the Citizen. And Jean-Jacques Rousseau, he said, man is born free and is everywhere in chains. Why not men and women, or why not humans?
Oh, I thought man as human being in general. Like I know it's not a gender neutral word, but in this context, I thought man means man and woman.
Sometimes, men mean the humans, entire human, right? But so this is what happened behind this declaration. Many women in France protested against the declaration because it excluded them.
Okay.
So this man actually means like male.
Wow, didn't know about it.
Yes. So this is some important history behind it. A woman named Olympe de Gouges, I think this is the right pronunciation. She was the playwright and political activist in France, and she had the courage to highlight the failures of the French Revolution by publishing the Declaration of the Rights of Women and the Female Citizen.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So this is the proof that the original Declaration of the Rights of Men and of the Citizen did not include women, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think happened to Olympe de Gouges?
She had a very tough time, I think.
Yes, well, in fact, more than that.
Really? What happened?
So unfortunately, she was executed for treason.
No way. Really?
So her bravery resulting in a tragic end for herself.
Oh, that's very sad.
This is, what happened behind this advancement of the society.
Okay.
I haven't still found a specific paper supporting this claim, but I think it's not hard to imagine that John Locke or Jean-Jacques Rousseau and other authors of the Declaration considered only men, not women, given the gender inequality prevalent at the time.
Yeah, that's very sad. Like the Declaration, to me, at first glance, it seemed a very inclusive and very ideal, sophisticated document, but in reality, it excluded women.
Yes, exactly.
But was it intentional?
I don't know, actually, to be honest.
Okay.
But this the exclusion might have been unintentional because of the situation of the generation or the context of that age.
Okay.
Right. So John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau may not have deliberately excluded women from their theories, and I think it's possible that they just didn't consider that a woman should be there. Yeah, again, I haven't found any documents to support this hypothesis. But it's possible, maybe intentional or unintentional. I'm not 100% sure, but the fact is that women were excluded, while almost the half of the citizens were women, right?
So there's no evidence that indicates whether it was intentional or unintentional, but the circumstances and what happened to the woman, the Olympe de Gouges, can tell us that woman was indeed excluded in the declaration.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, they were excluded. What I want to say here is it's a common event in real life in the 21st century. For any activity to unintentionally exclude certain groups of people.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is a key message that I want to deliver today.
Right.
So I think it's better to give you an example. So let's consider an imaginary project involving a global e-learning platform.
Okay.
Let's say you are the leader of a global HR learning team, and the team is about to launch a new e-learning platform for your employees. Okay, so this is a situation, and I'm going to explain why I think I'm saying that this is a common event in real life. You've finalized the contract with a platform provider and secured strong support from top management, including the CEO. Yeah? And you hope that this new platform, e-learning platform, will transform the organization's learning culture. You are excited, and you send an email to everyone in your company by addressing all employees in the header, in the first line of the email. It looks perfect. You send the email.
Yeah.
However, a few days later, you receive feedback that certain groups of people are unhappy.
Oh, what happened?
You checked everything, and the e-learning provider, they have an excellent record in other companies, right? And you find no error in the system. So you don't know why.
Everything looks perfect.
So this is, here's what happened. You did actually not include interns in this program while you were addressing all the employees.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's tricky. Interns.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is not a point if interns is an employee or not. It depends on the countries. It depends on countries. It's it's not a point here. But, there could be many reasons for this oversight or exclusion, right? Perhaps you selected all the employees from the system without verifying whether it includes interns in the system, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe interns are not common in your country. So, for example, we are from Japan, and when we are working in Japan, the interns in a big company, it's very, very rare.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's not common at all, like here in Europe.
So, but as you said, it's in France or Germany, it's quite common. So there are many potential reasons behind it. But anyway, you didn't intentionally exclude them. So, that this scenario may be sound too extreme, but it's not entirely unrealistic, right? I think you can also imagine this kind of thing can happen.
Yeah, definitely. I think that intern was a good example. I mean, most of the companies, the interns don't have the full rights or benefits that the other employees enjoy. So I can imagine this happens a lot. And most of the time I'm sure most of the time it's unintentional. But yeah, I don't know, if I were an intern, I wouldn't complain because it's common to be excluded. But yeah, I understand some people might get bothered.
But you know, what you did in this scenario is that you said all employees, like everyone.
Yeah, that's the tricky part. Yeah.
So you know, this hypothetical situation demonstrates how easily certain groups can be unintentionally excluded.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, this is the point. It's almost inevitable.
Yeah, really.
Excluding certain groups of people is inevitable. Because, for example, even if you attempt to include every employees, including interns, how about freelancers?
I am a freelancer. Okay, so I might be excluded.
Exactly. And then if the company you're working for is telling everyone that, so we provide these rights to everyone in our company, right?
Yeah.
And then you contribute to, you know, the company, but you are not even considered. Some people are fine with that, but some people may not, right?
Probably, yeah. If you have a solid contract with a company, I guess the contract says something about the benefit that freelancers can enjoy, and but not every contract says all these details, I guess. So I think it happens.
Probably many people didn't just read every phrase in the contract, right? And then even if you decide to include freelancers, what about external consultants who work for your company full-time for 7 years?
For
example, I don't know, 10 years. You know, in my previous company, I had a very good colleague. He's from consulting company, but he's working in the company for 7 years, and he's like the employee, right?
Yeah.
And he was invited to many drinking or dinner things. Yeah, so he was our team member.
Yeah.
So what I want to say here is that the organization is too complex to identify everyone comprehensively.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
I fully agree with that.
And let me give you another example. So suppose you want to offer a stock option plan to everyone in a managerial position. So you will, imagine that you are an HR director in reverse or relevant department, and once again, defining everyone becomes problematic here, because there are several types of people. What about a manager who oversees a team of 5 freelancers, 2 external consultants, and 1 intern, but has no permanent employees? And another group of people, let's say a manager who supervises just 1 junior permanent employee and does not have any other resources under him or her.
That's so tricky. Yeah, oh my God.
Right? And if the former one, the manager of a big team, is excluded from the plan, while the latter, with only 1 junior employee, is included, it's highly likely that the former manager will feel dissatisfied with the new plan.
Yeah, that's frustrating. If I were the first manager and if I didn't get a stock option, I would definitely complain.
Right?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have have you ever encountered a similar situation in your career before?
Yeah, well, I would say these kind of things really happen a lot, as you said, right? Like my previous company that I don't know how similar it is, but my previous company, they used to organize annual company trip. I think they still do. Like once a year, every employee from all around the world get together in one place and stay there for like 7 days, 10 days, doing seminars, conferences, and events. Sometimes we went to Spain, sometimes in Morocco, in Malta, Belgium. Like, every year they change
I want to join the company. Sounds good.
Join them.
Anyway.
Yeah, but there's always people who cannot join because of the visa situation. I know one of my coworkers. She couldn't come to the company trip because of her nationality, she needed a visa to join the trip. But when the company announced the destination of the trip, it was too late. Like her embassy was all packed for months, and the time went up, so she couldn't join. And I'm sure it's really unintentional, but the idea that there are those kind of people kind of slipped from the organizer's mind, right?
That's an interesting example, actually. Yeah, because I don't think company intentionally excluded this person, right?
No, I don't think they did it intentionally. It was totally unintentional.
Obviously, yeah. Right? So
Yeah.
this happens a lot.
Yeah.
I think that is a very good example.
Oh, yeah, I think it was, during the COVID time, and the embassy was so low business and very little slot for applications. So I think it made the problem worse. But I have another example, actually.
Yeah.
So when I was doing a master's program in Paris, the same school as you went, the head of the program was planning a school trip to Israel to visit a bunch of tech companies. Israel has a lot of tech companies, and and we were studying data science, so it was kind of relevant topic. But of course, there were a lot of Arabic students in the same class, and of course, they can't join the trip, right? So to be fair, it was not a mandatory trip. It was one of the choices that the school offered, but this choice kind of automatically excluded these Arabic students. Well, in the end, the trip didn't happen. Maybe they changed the plan, or something happened. But I think, of course, it was unintentional, but probably the school didn't think it through carefully.
Yeah. Right. That's I think it's a great example. Yeah.
But then I don't know, like what kind of thing can HR or business leaders do in order to avoid this kind of situation?
Right. So, firstly, I really want to emphasize that a perfect solution does not exist in this case. Because it's technically impossible to include everyone once criteria are set.
That sounds very difficult indeed.
Yeah, and like as we saw earlier, including some individuals or certain groups of people automatically excludes others.
Yeah.
Right. So inclusion creates exclusion.
Yeah,
so this is a structural truth in a way. Right. So, but of course, I'd like to suggest some strategies to mitigate this issue. So firstly, it's important to be aware of a cognitive bias.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the cognitive biases is WYSIATI. Have you heard about WYSIATI?
What the hell is that? What?
So WYSIATI is the acronym, stands for what you see is all there is.
Oh, WYSIATI. WYSIATI.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
What you see is all there is.
Yeah. So when I firstly heard the word, I had the same reaction. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Right. So this bias, cognitive bias, leads us to make judgments based solely on the information readily available to us. Right, and that potentially causes us to overlook certain groups when we think of everyone, because we only see what we see. So, for example, another example, right? Consider the implementation of a company-wide performance evaluation tool.
Yeah.
Imagine that you're a project manager, and with a tight deadline, you plan to conduct quick interviews with a few managers to have some input. And so probably you're likely to reach out to managers you know well, which means that tools development might be disproportionately influenced by these individuals. So if you interview only 5 people you know well around you, this the product is influenced by this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, but at the same time, it's not feasible to gather feedback from everyone.
Yeah.
Right? And again, defining everyone is nearly impossible, as I said earlier. So the first solution, it's not a solution, but first thing you need to do is to be aware of this, recognizing this bias, right? And another strategy to tackle this situation is to standardize communications based on specific employee groups. It's not a perfect solution, but in my work, specific employee groups, meaning like job grades or job level.
Oh, okay.
You know, it depends how you call, depends on each company.
Right.
But yeah, the job grades refer to classifications assigned to employees at similar levels based on their job nature and impact, right? So for example, individual contributors could be classified within grades S1 to S6. S means like senior, or right? And while managers might be categorized from M1 to M5. M stands for manager.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then in my previous, I think in some companies like F1, F2, like fresh, newly grads.
Okay.
Or E1, E2, executive, whatever, right? So, and the example I mentioned earlier, if a new stock option plan is intended for all managers, I think it would be a wise idea to say all employees at or above grade M1 are eligible for the stock option plan. Then people will probably understand, this distinction, right? Of course, it's not a perfect solution, but just saying all managers is not, might cause confusion. Because you are managing a big team and you think that you are a manager, right? Yeah. So this can prevent potential disappointment among grade S6 employees who act as a manager, right? Like having like team of 5 or 10 with freelancers, etc.
Oh, right? Okay. Yeah, that's a very good solution. I think this leveling of employee positions, employee classes, it's becoming more and more common in large organizations.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of, for example, startups have this leveling. The company is relatively small, and it's not necessary. It's not really necessary because the HR can literally oversee everyone without unintentionally dropping someone, right? But as the company grows, they need to introduce these categorizations or leveling or job grades, whatever you call it, because of its efficiency from the communication point of view. I think that's a very good solution.
Yeah. And then probably, as you said, early startup, like, until 30, 40 people, it might not necessary. But I think personal, the experience, I think above 50 people, the company with more than 50 people, they started to implement this grading system.
My previous company didn't introduce this until it surpassed 1,000 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, probably depends. Yeah.
But yeah. When they introduced, I didn't know the philosophy behind it. I didn't understand why they're doing it. But now I understand. It's really a meaningful and good solution.
Yeah, well, but also like job grading helps, the reward, compensation and package strategy, and also career path.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's in many ways. It works in many ways, right? Yeah.
Okay.
But
nice.
it's also I know it's contradictory to what I said, but sometimes explaining the details is not effective. So for example, if you want to say something like party for all, right? Meaning that everyone can join this event. And you're not going to say like party for all, but who has, this grade. Right? So
that sounds so boring.
Yeah, exactly. So the communication should be really, sharp, right?
Right.
This leads to another solution. because it's impossible to include everyone anyway.
Yeah.
It's important to be mindful of those excluded from the program. For example, the hypothetical example I mentioned earlier about the global e-learning platform. Maybe the project team could have been mindful and deliberate in terms of people who are excluded, and then they could have identified these people, the interns, right? And then they can provide some other alternative options or specific communications for them.
Right.
Yeah, I know it's difficult when you have a lot of topics on your plate, right? But it's always important to be mindful for those who are excluded. That's right. Yeah, the solutions. It's not really solutions, but the three things to be aware of. First one is visibility, the being a bit aware of the bias. Second one is use the predefined employee groups. And the third one is to be mindful of those who are excluded from the program.
Yeah. Okay, that's a very good wrap up. I think, that it's important to remember that including everyone is almost impossible, and it automatically excludes someone, almost always. I don't know, like thinking about the French Revolution and the declaration that we talked about, like we saw in the previous episode about Versailles and Edo culture, we cannot really judge one historical event as good or bad, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is a very important point that we need to really pay attention to, especially, I don't know, like evaluating historical events based on the value that we have now or from contemporary perspective. It's quite dangerous.
Yeah.
Because in today's context, I don't know, like some might say that stating men and women is not enough. How about non-binary people or something like that, Okay, I understand, but this happened back in the 18th century, so you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
It's pity that declaration didn't even include women, but I think it surely advanced human rights forward. And that's why we have human rights as a basic rights nowadays. And well, for not for everyone, but it's leading to a more inclusive society.
Yes, I completely agree. Right. So the radical changes can sometimes have unintended consequences. So if you try to implement too radical solutions, for example, during the French Revolution, if someone says, if these authors said all men and women and non-binaries should have the same rights, people are like, what you're talking about, right? Given the context of the 18th, 17th, and 18th century, right? So the radical changes can sometimes even set society back.
That's right.
So the declaration of the rights of men might have been the best solution for that era to build a brighter future, right? So that was probably the most optimized solution, although it's not an ideal thinking from the contemporary era, right? But at the same time, I really want to emphasize that it's crucial to emphasize that there are always people who are overlooked and excluded in every social advancement. Yeah, like women during the French Revolution. So I think this is a lesson that we should learn from the sacrifice of Olympe de Gouges, who dared to protest against the French newly built government and executed, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I really liked today's episode. Like, it made me realize how lucky we are, how much our today's life is based on the sacrifice of the people who fought for it and fought for the rights. So yeah, like very, very nice episode. I'm glad that we didn't end up doing a rhyme competition in the end.
Well, yeah, that's a nightmare. Well, it can set the society back.
We should think about the rap song about human resources in history.
Okay, yeah, I'll leave it to you. Yeah, if you want, please.
Human resources in history.
Oh, are you trying? Are you trying to make a
continuous symphony armed with new strategy, making our own story?
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for listening today.
Our episode is in a misery. Yesterday I bought a new tapestry.